Yo, welcome to NAR, where we break down some of the most ridiculous stories from around the world. Take a seat, get some popcorn, and relax. But while you're making that popcorn, do make sure to gently press the like button and subscribe. Unless you'd like to do that after the video? That's cool too, lol. Now, let's begin. Alright, so our first story is about a man who was charged freaking $600 by Uber for a ride that only costed $200, with a tip included. But why? Andrew Peters was on his Uber going back home when the car got stuck in traffic due to the Interstate 95 in Virginia getting shut down because of a snowstorm. For 9 hours. Unfortunately for Andrew, companies like Uber increase their prices if a ride is taking longer than expected to compensate the driver for the additional time. So Uber had added the $400 on top of the $200 he initially had to pay. Andrew had to pause his credit card fearing an overdraft, which is when your bank allows you to pay your bills even when you have insufficient money. They provide you a loan which you then have to pay back with interest. On top of that, you have to pay a one-time insufficient funds fee. To wrap it all up, Andrew went on a tiresome 9-hour ride, which was supposed to be much less than that, got charged $200 plus $400, a loan with interest, and a one-time insufficient funds fee. Which adds up to a lot of money. The wonderful thing about this situation is that you can dispute this increased charge on the Uber website if you feel it was unfair. Such as in Andrew's case where the 9-hour delay was out of his control. Now, the story most, probably all, of you came for, the woman who married a plane. I thought I shouldn't put it far into the video seeing that the other stories I've compiled are interesting enough, but as a thank you to me for not talking about this story at the end of the video, at least stick around till the end. The rest of the stories are just as interesting, I promise. So, Michelle Kobke, a 31-year-old saleswoman, reported at the beginning of last year that she will marry a Boeing 737-800 in an intimate ceremony in the Netherlands later in 2020. She nicknamed the plane, Schatz, which translates to darling. And this love story began all the way back in 2014 where Michelle met the plane at Berlin Tegel Airport. She was attracted to the plane's jet wings and thrusters and described it as love at first sight. According to her, they've been dating since then. Michelle was finally able to get her hands on her man in September 2019 and even gave it a kiss. She kissed and caressed the plane and described her time spent in the hangar as the most beautiful moment in her life. Her dream is to one day move into the plane's hangar and spend the rest of her life with her husband. So, Michelle's case is an example of objectophilia, which is when someone falls in love with an inanimate object. Upon hearing about this story at first, and you don't know what objectophilia is, it may make you think that the person is weird or maybe mentally unstable. So, what is objectophilia really?
I want to ask the question because you mentioned a romantic interest,
yes,
maybe even a sexual interest. That's where I start to worry a little bit. If you have a romantic relationship with the chandelier, what does that even look like? Because she talks about wanting to hug it, and I'm trying to figure out mentally how the chandelier is giving
dinner together.
right.
Well, yeah, and how that works physically, because I can understand emotionally being attached to an object that everyone has something they love.
You love your bike.
Yeah.
I do. I love anytime I pick up my bike, it brings a smile to my face.
But you don't want to make out with it.
And you don't really feel like the bike reciprocates your love, that this is kind of a consensual
we've had some wonderful moments together on the top of the mountain where I've thought about kissing it, but it's different because it's not like I have an expectation of that bike.
Right.
So I understand the bike is a tool for me to embrace in life. I'm trying to imagine you're sleeping with a chandelier. Mm-hmm. And you're attracted to it. That almost looks kind of borderline dangerous.
I know.
I guess I'm getting
Apparently, this is the more cuddly of the chandeliers, and this is why she sleeps with this one.
So that's wrapped around her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so
Clearly she's getting pleasure from this.
She's getting pleasure from it, and obviously we're not talking about her having physical sexual relations the same way that you would with a human being, but to that point, there are some researchers and psychologists who believe this is maybe just a type of sexual preference. So when we think about heterosexuality, homosexuality, recently there are people who say they're asexual, so they really don't have any sexual preference towards a human being, that this could potentially be thought of as that. So for them, loving, cuddling, very different. physical anatomy, that's not part of the picture.
So we see that for an objectophiliac, their idea as to what constitutes to a relationship is different from the norm, where we value things such as cuddling, going out on dates, being able to communicate with your partner and have them respond, and satisfying each other's sexual desires. People like Michelle probably get the same satisfaction when they are inside the plane or near it as you get after you've had an intimate moment with your partner. It is easy to make fun of or take light something one does not understand, so I hope I was able to help you better understand the otherwise bizarre world we live in, though it is normal to be curious and have questions as to how and why certain things occur. When Michelle first saw her lover back in 2014, I am sure glad that she didn't do what the next woman did. Vicky Myers, a 53-year-old woman. I'd like to emphasize how she's 53 so you can realize how ridiculous her actions were. Vicky arrived at Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport, allegedly drunk, and late for her flight. She was told that the plane was already leaving and, I guess she didn't want to have that because she then decided to run out of the emergency glass doors towards the plane. 2. Stop it. Now, it is unclear whether she was really drunk or just suspected to be, but the fact that she thought to herself that she could stop a 487, 5-ton plane, then, I guess she probably was. As she was running down the stairs towards the nose of the plane, she was contained by some airline workers who probably saved her life. They managed to stop her until the police arrived and arrested her. She was charged with criminal trespassing and burglary. Well, kids, that's what happens when you drink alcohol. You get arrested. Anyway, Vicky sure will be glad that the plane she was trying to stop was not the one on this next story. So, while on a flight to Mexico, which was organized by a private group called 111 Private Club, a group of influencers started vaping, drinking and dancing while maskless on the plane. The flight was coming from Canada. Transport Canada and Sunwing have now launched an investigation into the matter. Even the Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, has voiced his frustrations at this incident.
It's a slap in the face to see people putting themselves, putting their fellow citizens, putting airline workers at risk.
Airlines have now refused to board these passengers back to Canada, reasoning that they want to keep their other passengers are safe from the plane partiers, so they're now stuck in Mexico by the time of the making of this video. Sunwing, one of the airlines which have refused to board these passengers, was the one originally scheduled to fly the group back to Canada on January 5th, but cancelled when the plane partiers didn't want to meet the conditions put forward in order for them to be flown back by the airline after their irresponsible behavior. These conditions were not revealed by the airline due to the ongoing investigation, but they said the conditions would make sure there would be no repeat of the behavior on their return flight. James William Awad, an event organizer who is probably part of the 111 Private Club, said he understands why people were outraged by his client's actions on the private flight he organized. He noted how he is still learning from this experience as this was his first flight. He even went on Twitter to say that he'd rather be himself and happy than to act like a politician to make everyone happy, and that we all have different views, goals and visions. Though he has also said that the conditions they were tasked to meet were a bit unfair. According to him, the plane partiers had no problem with the no alcohol service condition during the flight, but the airline went too far when stating that they would not provide any meals for the passengers on the 5-hour-long flight back to Canada. Some passengers of the flight to Mexico have come out to say that they didn't even partake in the wild actions which are seen in some of the videos, and that they were just sitting and watching. And now they're stuck in Mexico and suffering unfairly along with the real perpetrators. These actions could see the perpetrators fined up to 5,000 Canadian dollars per offense. Also, any passenger found to have lied during the investigation, maybe such as those claiming they weren't part of the wild behavior, could face steep fines or even a prison sentence once back in Canada. Now, onto some non-plane news. How do I say this? A turtle which was cyberbullied. Yes, you heard that right. Anyway, meet Funzo, a pig-nosed turtle which was cyberbullied on Twitter after the National Aquarium tweeted a picture of him for his 28th birthday. And, well, not everyone thought that the animal was cute, or in any way appealing to the eye. Some tweeps retweeted the tweet and had some really negative things to say about the turtle's appearance. The National Aquarium noted this negativity, and tweeted about it, pleading for justice for the turtle which was being ravaged on Twitter with the hashtag, Funzo deserves better. After seeing this, a lot of people came to the rescue of the turtle's dignity. Personally, I think he looks fairly okay, just needs some getting used to just like me. Though it is unclear for now whether the people who brought positive comments just felt sorry for the turtle or they genuinely mean it. But what remains a fact is that if you fall towards the negative end on the beauty spectrum, that's fine. We all need to be proud of how we look, but don't post yourself on Twitter. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end. It really means a lot that you didn't just skip out after hearing about the airplane story, well, the first one. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video please and comment what you thought about these stories. See you next time I upload. Oh, and, over to you.